OP09 is coming out in a few days time, so I'll be making day 1 deck profile videos for each of the new leaders until the official release day. That means by the end of this week, we'll have all the leaders covered and an unboxing video for OP09. I've uploaded the Shanks, Lim, and Buggy day 1 deck profile, so if you're interested, you can check it out. And now we are moving on to the Gear 5 Luffy leader. I'll be sharing with you my take on the Gear 5 leader, and again, just to remind you, this is a day 1 deck list, so there will be changes to it down the line. So now moving on to the leader, Luffy is a purple black Yonko and Straw Hat leader. His first effect is all your characters plus 1 cost, which is good when going up against black decks. His second effect is once per turn, during your turn, when 2 or more Dawn is returned to your Dawn deck, you get to ram 1 active and 1 rested Dawn. A strong effect that ensures you don't lose any Dawns when using any of the new Straw Hat cards from OP09. The strategy of the deck is to ramp up quickly, play your big characters, then beat the opponent down. This deck feels more like an aggro deck than a control one. So here's the list that I'm running for day 1. I'm running 4 copies of Law. He's the searcher of the deck. His effect is check the top 4 cards of your deck for a 2 cost or higher Straw Hat or a Hard Pirates card and add it to your hand. I don't have a lot of Hard Pirate cards in the deck, so you will mostly only be searching for the Straw Hat cards. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Beppo. He's the only Hard Pirate cards that I'm using in this deck. His effect is once per turn during your turn. When a Dawn is returned back to your Dawn deck, give your leader or a character plus 1k for this turn. The reason why I'm using this is because he's a 2k counter, but he is also a Moria target, and I'll share more about the combo later. Next, I'm running 4 copies of Zoro Juro. In my opinion, this card is very underrated in this deck. This, in conjunction with the new 3-cost Zoro, ramps your Dawn up really quickly and acts like a pseudo blocker when in rest, but he is only useful during the early stage of the game. Next, I'm running 4 copies of Black Maria, a 2k counter. You don't usually need to play her down since we have a lot of ramping available. However, if you are going first on your second turn and you don't have access to either Zoros, you can play Black Maria to ramp. Then when you return your Dawn back at the end of your turn, your leader's effect will trigger and you get to ramp 1 Dawn. Next, I'm running 4 copies of the Zoro that I was talking earlier. His effect is on play, you can return 1 or more Dawn, then you can ram 1 active Dawn. This effect pairs perfectly with the leader's effect. You usually want to see him in your opening hand, and similar to Zoro Juro, is only useful in the early stage of the game. Towards the later part of the game, this card is usually a discard fodder for other cards. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Usohachi. His effect is on play if you have 8 or more Dawns, rest a 5 cost or lower character. Reason why I'm including him is just for the 2k counter and also for those moments when your opponent have a blocker that is standing between you and winning. Why I'm not running 4 copies of it is because I'm sharing this spot with the Beppo from earlier. Next, a staple for the deck, 4 copies of Frankie. He's a blocker and effect is on play, minus 2 Dawn and discard 1 card, then draw 2 cards. A really strong effect because with the leader's effect, the cost is essentially free. He can also be reused with 8 cost Moria, which means you'll be cycling through your deck and filtering your cards often. Next, I'm running a tech slot, 3 copies of Sangoro. His effect is on attack if you have 8 Dawns or more, draw 1 card. In this deck, you go up to 10 Dawns really fast, so you will not have any trouble activating his effect. You can replace this slot for more boss characters, or even Tesoro, Born Clay, or even the new Chopper. Next, I'm running Sobama Sanji. His whole purpose of the deck is just to be a 2k counter. You don't usually play him out as a blocker since you should always have more Dawns than the opponent, and your Frankie will always be on the field thanks to Gecko Moria. And here we have a third Sanji card in the deck. His effect is on play, you can minus 1 or more Dawns, then this card gains rush, and you can rest one of your opponent's 6 cost character or lower. This card is good to help you push for games or add pressure. The other thing that's good about this card is it also has a 1k counter. Next, we have a card that should have been banned, Gecko Moria. We all know what he does, but the combo here is you revive Frankie and Beppo, then Frankie's effect activates minus 2 Dawn, discard 1 and draw 2, then you'll trigger your Beppo's effect to give your leader or a character plus 1k, and because you return 2 Dawns back to your Dawn deck, your leader's effect will activate and giving you 1 active Dawn and another rested Dawn. So you can potentially attach that 1 Dawn to your leader, and on top of that Beppo attack gain, your leader can possibly swing for 7k this turn, or you can even keep that 1 Dawn active for your Gum Gum Giant. If you don't have Beppo in the trash, you can always use Law for more searching. For the last character of the deck, I'm running 4 copies of the new Secret Luffy from OP09. His effect is on play, minus 1 or more Dawn, draw 1 card, then this card gains rush. A really strong game ender, and the fact that you can play him on curve and still have 1 extra Dawn due to your leader's effect is really good. A really strong card for mid game or even the late game, and the fact he replaces himself in hand when played is also really good. Next we'll be going to the events. I'm running 3 copies of Gum Gum Jet Gatling. For me, this is a flex slot. I included it just for the trigger ability, but also being able to use this as a 3k counter for 0 dons, getting rid of cards that you don't need. And for the last card in the deck, it's Gum Gum Giant. The effect is counter -2 dons and discard 1 card, draw 2 cards, and give one of your leaders or character plus 4k for that battle. This is a really powerful event because it's a radical beam and gives you new hand cards. Best to use when you're at 8, 9, or even 10 dons. So overall, to me, this deck is a ramp and rush with big bodies kind of deck. You ramp because you want to play Moria and Luffy quick, not because you want to get to 10 dons quickly. By thinking of it this way, your playstyle will definitely change. And the reason why I'm not running Nika is personal preference. Nika to me is only valuable when you are pushing for lethal. Aside to that, the card is pretty mid. I would rather keep a board full of characters than to clear them out for Nika and potentially not being able to close the game and end up losing. You can consider playing Luffy Taro in the deck as well for more board spam. I didn't include him because I'm not running the 4 cost Zoro Juro. However, if I'm running him, I might consider adding the Luffy Taro in. If you want to try Luffy Taro out, you can probably remove the Jet Gatling from this list. So that's my take on the Purple Black Gear 5 Luffy deck. I think this deck will be tier 1 in the next format, so we have to see how well it does. Let me know in the comments what you think of the deck list and if you're interested to try him out. So just 2 more leaders to go. We are done with Shanks, Lim, Buggy and Luffy. The next video will be for the Purple Yellow Nico Robin leader, which I know many of you are excited for. If you've enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, share it to your friends and leave a comment. Also follow me on Twitter or X for more One Piece card game content. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.